Hello everybody, my name is Michael K and welcome to a Get Fit Over 40 review video. Today we're looking at the Garmin VivoSmart, one of the latest fitness bands from Garmin. And I've got a bunch of fitness bands here on the table that I've reviewed in the past and obviously reviewing today. And for those of you that aren't exactly familiar with what a fitness band does, the main focus, now they do other things or they're starting to do more than this, but the main focus is to track movement. So they'll have some sort of motion sensor built into them, and generally speaking what that does is it tracks the movement your wrist makes, and they take that information, process that, and figure out kind of what you're doing if you're walking, running. Now typically these types of wrist-borne fitness trackers, they track steps or running best. So if you're doing a workout that includes weights or biking or aerobics or CrossFit or something like that, it's not going to track the movement really that accurately. We'll get a little bit more into that in a bit, and we'll start talking about things like heart rate monitors that sync with these bands and whatnot. Alright, so I'll just quickly sort of go over what we have here. Now, the one fitness band that's not on this table that I have reviewed is the Jawbone Up. And some of my reviews of these earlier fitness bands are kind of old, so the software that I show and some of the features and whatnot, they're not going to be really accurate or current because software changes, firmware changes, features change on these bands because they, generally speaking, will have software upgradability to some extent. So we'll start off with these Fitbit bands here. This is the Fitbit Flex and Force. So the Flex is here, the Force is here, and see if we can focus in. Now, I'm not even sure if this is, they're not even charged. So this would normally have an LED or LCD screen. It's just sort of like a whitish blue screen that comes on and indicates things, basically time. It'll show you the time. It'll show you kind of what's going on in terms of your activity, how many steps you've taken, how many calories, things like that. This one will also show you steps, so it has an altimeter bit built into it as well, and it has an actual physical button on it. So this was a nice unit from Fitbit. It did get recalled because the plastic was apparently causing problems for some people, not very many but a few. Now the Flex here it doesn't really have a screen so much other than a couple little indicators on it, but it won't show you a lot of things that are going on with it. Now watch those reviews that I've already done for the Flex and the Force, okay? Both of these are nice fitness bands in terms of just tracking basic movement and figuring out kind of how many calories you're basically getting in for each day, things like that, okay? Great fitness bands. Now, after I tried out the Jawbone and Fitbit products, I kind of moved up into this Polar. This is the Polar Loop, and the reason I got this Polar Loop is because, well, it has a nice LED or LCD LED screen. Right, so it's right now it's not synced to anything because I'm not using it. But what I liked about this Polar Loop was the ability to put on a heart rate monitor and sync the pair of these guys. Okay, so the heart rate monitor syncs to the fitness band, tracks my heart rate, which gives me more accurate information in terms of when I'm actually doing an exercise. So not when I'm just moving around, walking around, those types of things, but when I actually go and do something really intensive like a workout of some sort. Tracks my heart rate and takes that heart rate information, applies that to whatever their physics that they do, their programming, and gives me a really accurate reading of how many calories I'm burning. I can see my heart rate in software, and I can get an idea of how fast my heart rate's going, my average heart rate, things like that. So this really upped it for me because it was really accurate in terms of, you know, how many calories I was burning during a workout, not just like these guys when, you know, I'm doing a CrossFit workout, my hands might not even be moving at all if I'm doing squats or deadlifts, and so they don't track that very well. They won't give me credit for my calories, whereas this guy would with the heart rate monitor. Okay, so then basically I got this guy here, and this is the Garmin VivoFit, and it has a nice screen that's always on, which is kind of cool. And see if we can focus here, and you can go through the different features, heart rate. So obviously this one has heart rate as well. That red bar tells you if you've been moving around. It's full because I'm not wearing it right now, so it's obviously saying I'm not moving around much. I got to get up and moving. That would be the goal for today. That's how many miles I've walked today because I'm not wearing it. I believe that is calories. Now it does show some calories. Whoa, focus, buddy. It shows calories because that's my base caloric rate for the day. If we can get this to focus. Alright. That's what time it is. And let's just get this through here. That's the date. Back to heart rate, okay? So again, this would sync to a heart rate monitor and give me heart rate indication, all of those things, right, using this Garmin heart rate monitor. So now we move to the Garmin VivoSmart. Okay, so see if we can get this to focus a bit. There it is. Okay, so this is showing me my calories. I can swipe through, that's how many miles I've walked. Now I'm wearing this one. That would be my heart rate if I'm wearing the heart rate monitor. I'll maybe show you that in a bit. This controls my iPod. See if we can get it to control it. Not sure if my iPod is actually synced to it right at this moment. Should. There we go. So it's playing music. It's kind of quiet right now, but you can hear it. I can start and stop my iPod or my iPhone. This shows me how many messages, and what's really cool is I can actually go through and read the messages right on here. So I can kind of swipe through. App Store, some apps got updated. Fast camera. What else? Right, different things. More App Store stuff. Okay, so I can go back. I can swipe through, that's what time it is. That's how many calories I believe is my goal for the day. That's how many steps I believe I've walked. That's movement, saying that I haven't filled any of this up, so I've been moving around. Good for me. That's how many calories I burned today, just doing my thing. And you know, you can actually get into other things by holding down the button and getting into different things, like you can set sleep, you can set the display brightness, you can do a number of things. You can get into, you know, what's going on. That's if I want to find my phone. Oh, see, that's cool. I'll show you that right now. Basically, I'm saying, hey, where's my phone? And it's actually tracking my phone. It shows how close it is. So as we bring the phone further away, and it's stepped out of there. Let's just get this off. Okay, so it's a good way to find your phone, by the way. That's a cool feature. Glad I kind of showed that to you. So let's get out of here again. And so you can see different things, information like your battery level and whatnot. Oh, that's for Bluetooth, I believe, or something. I can't remember. There's the Bluetooth. There's information, shows me battery level. So there's quite a few screens you can go through over and above what's basically on here. One that's really cool is actually, and I'll show you that in a bit, is just starting and stopping a fitness session, and I'll have to put the fitness band on to show you that. So, okay, just kind of quickly comparing all these guys. Now, one thing I have to say is they all give you a base caloric rate that's kind of different. And I'd say the Garmin products give you the lowest. So if I don't really do much all day, I'm sitting around on the computer, it's going to give me like 22 to 20, maybe 2300 calories for the day, tops, if I'm lucky. That's with a little bit of walking around in the house, not doing too much. So if I do a workout, then what'll happen is I'll get like a 400 or 500 calorie, maybe 600 calorie workout. It'll add that to it. I might have like 2800 calories for the day. If I do a really big workout, I might get 3000. I generally don't go much over 3000 according to this. Now, according to when I enter my stats in online, I should be with moderate, with a little, you know, medium workout for a day. I should be getting somewhere over 3000 to 3300 calories a day of calorie burn, right? So it's kind of, I think it's reading a little bit low. But that's okay. You can adjust. You know, what I tend to do is I use it for getting a sense of where my calories are, how many I'm burning, and I'll kind of eat that many calories, and I'll have a few little extra things as well just to top it up, because I know my calories are actually a little higher than that. Now the Fitbit products, I think they're pretty accurate in terms of how many calories you actually burn with these guys, as long as you're adjusting for your workouts, right? So your base rate is pretty good on these guys. If you do a workout and you factor that in, I think you're pretty good. But it's hard to tell exactly how many calories you got during a workout because there's no heart rate monitor for these products. Now Fitbit does have some new bands coming out that have heart rate monitors built into them that'll actually take your heart rate from your wrist. I have reviewed heart rate monitors that actually go on your wrist. This guy here, right, this is the Alpha, Mio Alpha, and you know, I've done a review for this one. It's a watch, fitness band. It doesn't really do motion, but it does heart rate, and so it's not going to get all the little bits of movement that you do throughout the day, but it will get your workouts. But I didn't find that the wrist-based heart rate was very accurate for me. After I got over about 120, it started to just go wild and not really read at all. So not accurate for me. I don't know if the Fitbit products are going to start to get that accuracy up, reading off your wrist or not, but I found that these strap-based chest strap ones are the most accurate. So getting into the Polar products, I found that I got maybe more calories than I was burning with these guys. You know, and it would track my heart rate as well, so it would add that to the total. And a lot of times I'd get upwards, you know, with pretty intensive workouts and stuff, up to 3,500 calories for the day. Maybe it was tracking too much, but you know, that's a pretty intense day where I was getting around, moving around, doing some decent workouts and whatnot. So it's hard to say for sure which one is actually tracking your calories the most accurately. Now, that said, everybody's calories are different. I weigh 190 pounds. I'm 7% body fat right now, so I have a high muscle mass. So I'm going to burn more calories than someone who's 190 pounds with low muscle mass. They're going to burn less calories. And it also depends on kind of your body. Some people burn a little more, some people burn a little less. Now, I do kind of want to get back to the whole VivoSmart here and go over it a little bit more. So I want to show you a few things. I'm going to move these guys out of here. This is the actual fitness band that I use with it. And if you compare it to the Polar Loop, it's a little more flush. It's a bigger strap. It's more plasticky. This is kind of like just all strap. But it's so flush, it's very comfortable, it stays well on your chest just the way that it's got the grip on it, holds very well, and it's nice and thin so it doesn't catch on anything. This guy would sometimes catch on a weight every once in a while. I'd brush by it and actually snap this right off while I was working out, so that's not always a good thing. So I think the design of the Garmin is better in this case. I'm going to put this on for now. Alright, so I have it on, and in a second here I'm just going to let it sort of get in, start to do its thing or whatever it's got to do to read my heart. Probably already doing it, but in a second here, well, let's just give it a try. If it's not working just yet, we'll come back to it. Okay, so let's get to the heart rate. Should be there in a second. I'm going the wrong direction. Alright, heart rate. How are we doing? It's reading. There it is. Okay, so it's got my heart rate, it's figured out. Now, I do have a high heart rate. It's because I'm kind of excited right now doing this review. I'm standing up, moving around a little bit. It is showing that I'm 98. Typically I'll go down to about 70 if I'm sitting down. That'll be about my resting heart rate. So it is pretty high for me. This is just normal. So now if I wanted to start a fitness session, I would hold this down, go to this mode, and press on the little joggy dude there. And then all I do is I just go like this, and then it started. You'll see it's counting. So it's actually recording a session now. So it's really easy to start and stop. Now when it's recording a session, it's kind of cool. If I bring this up like this, see how it went on? If you bring your wrist up as if you're going to review it, it'll actually go back and show you how long your session's going. But I could also go, say for instance, to my heart rate, going the wrong way again, and have that come up so I can see my heart rate. So again, it'll go off in a second. And now if I put it down like I'm working out and then snap it up, see how it goes on? I don't have to double tap the screen, because normally you'd have to double tap the screen. So I'm going to hold this down again. I'm going to stop the session, and you're given an option of either saving it right there or deleting it. So I'm going to delete it for now and discard that session, and it's that easy. But if I hit the save button, I would have been able to save it, and that session would have been saved as a workout session, and I'll show you in the software kind of how that looks. So you can see we've got some more stuff coming in. I got more YouTube things, Gmail, all kinds of stuff coming in here, and it vibrates, which is really cool. Every time I get a notification, and essentially any notification that comes up on my phone, it'll basically vibrate on here and show on the screen. And it happens, I'm going to say simultaneously, but for some reason the band actually vibrates before my phone makes a noise or vibrates. It's that quick. So the syncing is excellent. I'll show you a few other things really quickly on this device. So here's the Garmin. Nice metal latch there. Looks really good. Just clips in. Haven't had any problems with that staying on. They do include this little guy here that can go over top if you're concerned about the band coming off. I'm not wearing it. It's fine. The band is nice and small. It's actually smaller than the VivoFit. Okay, so the VivoSmart is smaller. Now, what makes the VivoSmart so smart? Well, basically it's the smartwatch integration, okay? So, or the smartphone integration. So it's a smartwatch. It integrates with the phone. I know I'm jumping around here trying to explain it, but that's what makes the VivoSmart smart. It's like a combination between a smartwatch, like this guy, this Cuckoo watch that I've reviewed, which is not a fitness band. It's just a watch that syncs with your phone and gives you notifications. This is like everything. It's a fitness band, heart rate monitor, syncer, smartwatch, with a syncing ability to your smartphone, everything kind of all in one. And that's what I like about it. That's why this is my new device, because I can essentially get all my heart rate information, get my fitness, movement stuff going on through the day. It's a watch when I need it to be. It shows me, it pings, or it doesn't ping, it actually vibrates and tells me when I'm getting notifications on my phone. I can kind of preview those notifications without actually looking at my phone. Sometimes you don't want to pull your phone out and be that rude. So, you know, I can be less rude by just looking at my watch. It's a little, I could say, less rude than pulling out your phone and ignoring someone completely. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, it's kind of like the best of all worlds in a sense. Let's just take a quick look at the software. Okay, hopefully the screen brightness is good. So we are actually in the Garmin app. And syncing is pretty easy. It should sync here in a second if it hasn't synced already. It'll probably sync at some point. You'll see it down at the bottom here. Let's see what's going to happen. But here's the details for today. We can see what's going on. We can kind of look at yesterday. You can see things that are going on. So you got distance, goals, things like that. If I scroll down, I can see my workouts. And you can label them in here, or you can label them in the software online, which is what I've done. And I'm not going to show you the software online. This is, you know, I've been doing full reviews of these guys, and they're quite time consuming. I just want to give you like my feedback on it. Like, how does this work? What's the benefits of this guy? If you want to see software and detail and all that stuff, there's tons of reviews you can watch on YouTube. I'm not going to be that guy this time. So this is my workout here, 54.48 minutes, 0.49 miles. Now it's sort of trying to figure out distance, but I'm not really walking around much, so I'm not going to get much distance. This was a regular workout. It wasn't a walking based workout. Now what's kind of cool is this band, the VivoSmart, which is different than the VivoFit, actually shows you your steps. So if I went and tracked just a step-based workout where I went for a walk or a jog, didn't wear my heart rate monitor, I could still track that event using basically the start-stop feature on the band and record my steps. This is basically doing the heart rate and steps because I had the heart rate monitor on. So there's the heart rate there. That's what's going on. There's this kind of steps. There wasn't a lot because I was doing a workout, you know, doing isolation exercises. I wasn't going for a walk or run, so there's not going to be much there. Alright, so just some information, lap times if I was doing a lap, things like that. Alright, so let's just go back. That's really all I use. You can show your weight in here if you want to. I mean, there's obviously settings for personal information and stuff like that, but really I'm not into that. You can also track sleep. You can start your sleep and stop your sleep on here, but it doesn't automatically do that. So if I wanted to, I could kind of go in here and I could say that's when I started, that's when I stopped. Like it shows the different times. So let's see here. If I go in here and say, okay, let's say I went to bed at 2, woke up then, and say save. What's going to happen here is it's going to show me my sleeping kind of ability. So I basically said I went to bed at 2, which probably I didn't, because you can see here I probably actually had a little bit of a late night. Let's say 2:30, not p.m., a.m. If you hear barking, that's my dogs playing outside. Save that. And that didn't save it at all. Why not? Try that again. Done. Save. Okay, that's it. So you can see that's a little more accurate. Kind of took one of the little notches out there. Shows you your sleep. Alright, now is the Garmin VivoSmart the best fitness band in terms of software and how it figures out all of that kind of information that's coming from the band? I would say no, because I really think that the Polar Loop software does a better job of interpreting even subtle movements. It actually breaks it down into sleeping, sitting, standing, sort of walking around, not doing heavy movement versus even more radical movement. So here you can actually hear it buzz. I just got another notification. You can see right there. Kind of cool. Just happened, right? So yeah, I mean, this guy really breaks it up into a whole bunch of different categories. I can't really even show you because I haven't been using it too much, but watch my review for this guy. And it even knows when you're sleeping, so you don't have to set any of that information. It's all done for you in the software. So I think the software, the programming is better, but the problem I had with Polar is that every time they did a firmware update or an app update is they'd break something. Something would just not work right. It would just get buggy. Sometimes it would affect your activities and your heart rate monitor. It wouldn't record it properly, or just weird things would happen. Or syncing wouldn't be right. You'd have to like beat the thing to death to get it to sync. And it was just so frustrating. I didn't want to do any updates once it was working because I knew something else would happen. So that was the problem I had with the Polar Loop. And it's not a smartwatch. The VivoSmart is very good in terms of when you tell it you're doing an activity, when you want it to sync, it syncs. Everything syncs so well with it. Now you do need an internet connection to see what's going on this app, because if you don't have an internet connection, nothing's going to load in. It won't even sync without an internet connection, so be aware of that. Whereas some of the other guys, they'll sync without an internet connection, and they'll basically take that information, upload it to the cloud later. This one takes that information immediately, uploads it to the cloud, so you have to have an internet connection at all times. Alright, that pretty much wraps up this review. There's probably tons of stuff that I forgot to show you. I'm even thinking of some stuff right now, like what did it come with, right? So it came in the box here. It came with a charger. I mean, you can see other people's reviews. They're going to show you all this stuff. You charge it by clamping it on. Where is it here? So you see how you got that little guy there. See the little metal prongs in there? You just take this. Those metal prongs there have to line up. And it just goes on. It's a lot easier to do when I'm not trying to do it on a camera here. So there it is. See how it just clamps on. And pretty straightforward. I think I got another text. Yeah, more Gmail. It's always coming in. So essentially that's it. You know, charging cable, box, little wristband thing to make sure your strap's a little more secure. Obviously the VivoSmart. In my opinion, the VivoSmart is an awesome fitness tracker. I really think, for me at least, it's the best one. The software is, you know, in my opinion, is good enough, does a good job. It works, which is the main thing. Online is pretty good. There's a lot of information there online. You know, it does what it needs to do. It would be nice if it could figure out when you're sleeping a little bit more, and if it gave you a little bit more credit for more subtle activities. Because if I'm sitting around doing dishes, things like that, not really moving around too much, it really doesn't give me much credit for those exercises, for those movements. And there is some calories being burned when you're just sort of shuffling around, doing dishes, things like that. So if I got a little more credit for that, I think it would more accurately relay how many calories I was burning for the day. But other than that, I think it's an awesome fitness band. That pretty much wraps it up for the second time here. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Also come on down to getfitover40.com. Check out my articles, reviews. I'll have a summarized written review for this video, but nothing in too much detail. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.